Hey guys, Dancy2, back with Shadow of the Colossus and Horse. Yeah, I tend to walk away a lot. You'll see that cutting a lot during the course of this game, just because I tend to walk away after I beat a Colossus and save. Because as you saw after the first Colossus, you get a save screen after each one you kill. I tend to walk away after that point because I want to let the cutscene just play, and I can go off and do other things while that's happening. So I cut out most of the period of time, but let's just say I spend a lot of time sitting there half the time. Anyway, I forget my horse controls for a minute here, but today we're going after the third Colossus, Gaius. Gaius is kind of the first actual challenging Colossus. The first two are kind of more tutorial-ish, just teaching you basic stuff of how Colossus will react to certain things, and really how they move. This is the first one that's kind of hard. It's also kind of hard to get to. It's one of the more challenging ones. It's not just straight. You actually have to do a little bit of thinking, and I get horribly lost. But before I talk about that, I should probably bring up Reminisce Mode. Reminisce Mode is if you go to a Colossus that you've already defeated, you'll go to it and you'll find its corpse. If you press circle there, you'll kneel down like when you save. Only you'll have the option to refight the Colossus. You'll refight him as you were when you first fought him on that save file. Or not that save file, that time around. I really don't see a point in this, especially after you unlock time attack. I guess there's some point to it because during Reminisce Mode, it's got like a old style film filter. There's a Colossus corpse down there, by the way. I decided to go over it now because I never really go and do it, but that's the closest I get. It'll have like an old film grain filter over it, and it'll look all brown and fuzzy and stuff. So, you know, if you want a visual effect, if you're recording for something, I guess you can use it, but other than that, I really don't see a point to it, especially once you have time attack. Anyway, I got lost very badly, if you can't tell. There's a path right between where I am and where Quatreus was. That's the path you want to take, people. Don't be an idiot like me. But, thanks to my idiocy, we'll get to see that the cutscenes are actually pretty dynamic. More so than just, you know, moving the camera around if I ever unpause this. In that, since I'm approaching from this side, the cutscene is going to show me approaching from this side, and instead of coming up the normal way. I think it's pretty cool how they did the cutscenes. They basically filmed everything live. There's no pre-rendering whatsoever, and from what I could tell, it's done almost entirely by scripting, from what I can tell. If that makes any sense at all. Anyway, this is the first time we're going to really encounter water here. Water's not going to play too much of an important part, but there is at least two bosses where water is a hazard, I'd say, or more like it's the arena. Anyway, the Wanderer is possibly the worst swimmer on the face of the planet. He swims like a retard. I have no idea what he's doing there, but it's stupid. If you hold R1, you can dive underwater and swim a little bit more sensibly, as well as swim a little bit faster and hide from certain colossi when we're fighting them. That's about it. Water's a bitch. That's all I really have to say, and the Wanderer swims like an idiot. Hopefully we'll get over here sometime soon, and I'll show off diving, or swimming underwater right before it. You basically can dive like an inch under the water, but you can't go much deeper than that. It really doesn't matter because, aside from a couple of occasions, the water never gets really deep. Anyway, we just climb up this conveniently circular and conveniently flat enough for us to walk up architecture. Jeez, if I'm going to talk about all the convenient architecture we have to climb on, I'll be here all day. Forget it. And I hope you figured out how to jump off of things, because here, if you mess up, you have to go all the way back around again. Luckily, I don't. Once again, physics is my bitch. My name is Dancy2. Alley-oop. Just hold R1 whenever you're flying in any direction. It'll help you grab on a little bit easier. That's pretty much the only suggestion I can give. Anyway, you can walk around, but I choose to climb up here just to, once again, screw with the pop-in of the Colossus. Anyway, once again, this is Gaius. Probably the first difficult boss. Oh shit, he sees us. A little bit of story behind this boss, for me at least. When I first was playing this game, I had a guide to it from Tips and Tricks. Now, normally they do at least semi-decent guides. I'll go over him in a minute because, needless to say, he owns me, but I try and do a launch here. I'll go over it more when the time comes, but back to the guide. The guide was fairly good. It went over everything pretty well, except they did probably the most disgusting thing I've seen, other than Prima guides fabricating screenshots sometimes. If I ever do the game I'm talking about, I'll go over it then, but it's kind of shameless what they did. But the second most shameless thing I've seen is for the boss strategy for Gaius. Tips and Tricks literally copy-pasted the strategy for number 2 onto number 3 slot. No changes whatsoever. It was... that was nasty. No joke. Very, very nasty. I had 2 screenshots to go by, and I figured it out from that. And one of them was just him stabbing. Anyway, this guy is quite aggressive, and he's got a couple things. He'll stab in the ground, he'll swing his sword at you, and he'll stomp at you, depending on where you are distance from him. That circle over there is our key to success. If we want to do this the normal way. And ownage in 5. Actually, probably more time than that, because I gotta get him close enough. Ownage in 5, 4, 3, 2, owned. Now, even though it shows our success in breaking his armor so we can get around it, in all actuality, I am dead. Instant killed, thank you, hard mode. Getting that roll right is a matter of precision timing, and it's not fun. Anyway, now that I'm dead, I can actually go over this boss a little bit. Yeah, I skipped the cutscene here, thank God. You can skip cutscenes by pressing start if you don't know that. Anyway, he starts up on that circle. You need to get him over far enough so he'll slash, and when he slashes, you want him to hit the circle so it'll break his armor. You can also use him pulling the sword out of the ground as a launch to get up higher. It's one of the more famous launches in the game, considering you can just shoot straight to his head if you're good. And I've heard arguments that it's absolutely required to do that to actually beat him on hard time attack. I have not, so I don't know. A slightly easier launch, however, is using it to just get around his cuff. Just launching high enough to get onto his arm, which, you know, I do that sometimes. I kind of mess it up in this run. I don't actually get it right. There's a certain point when he there's a certain point when he won't adjust his angle to hit you anymore. You want to roll at that point. It's not very easy to describe, but it's pretty obvious. It's not really obvious, but it's, you know, it's there. It's about when he's coming down, when he just starts to come down with it, is when you can dodge roll to get out of it. Anyway, I mess up a little bit here and just barely hang on. That notch in his sword, not actually a good place to sit. It doesn't help you hold on, and it will actually mess up your launch half the time. That's what you want to use to launch around his bracelet. If I was good, I could have used that. Anyway, we'll climb up his arm here. If you're not as good, you can use the platforms right there as a resting point, but I am ballsy, so I'm just going to go straight up. Anyway, this guy's got 3 weak points in hard mode. 1 on the head, 1 on his stomach, and 1 on the back of his left arm. The one on the back of his left arm is kind of annoying because there's really no place to sit there, and I kind of glitch it out a little bit. As far as his head goes, if you need to rest there, you can easily rest on his back half the time. Just be careful with it because he will shake a little bit. Sometimes the most open spots can be some of the best rest points. That's really the key to fighting this boss. And he's got so much junk. That was a pretty cool launch there. He's got so much junk on him that getting stuck in certain places can be kind of annoying and really hazardous to your run if you get bad luck with that. Especially, I kind of get that bad luck when I go on his arm. Hello. Major zoom in on the face. Kind of creepy. It's not the creepiest thing in this game. Far from it. Whoa, Nelly. F it, I'm going out. No, I'm still going after his head. I thought I went after the arm there. Yeah, that's really about it. Gaius didn't really, from what I can tell, he didn't really change too much in development. We do have some screenshots of him from development, specifically in a lot of magazines. He was kind of one of the more poster childs. But he didn't really change too much. There were some slight alterations of his armor, of course. And I get screwed over by the random protrusions from him. But other than, you know, a couple minor changes, he didn't really alter him too much. I think he was one of the more, you know, we want this guy in here. And he's a good starting point for the real hard bosses. That being said, there really isn't hard in this game until you get to the final, and that's more annoying. Whoa, Nelly. Once again, I have no idea how I survive half of these. I like how he has pseudo shoulder blades back there. It gives him a very unique form on his back. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't even know. Well, the purpose is so you can get around the armor, I think. You can go for the stomach first by doing a very small launch, but I never go for that. I always end on the stomach because it's the easiest place to rest. And I am officially out of things to talk about. Way out. Like you land. Yeah, this is where I go. Come on already! Oh god, I have 5 minutes left. Getting back up on him is pretty easy. I apologize if you heard any thumping there. I think I might have knocked my mic, or the cord at least. Getting up on him is pretty easy. You basically just have to do another get on him. You don't have to break his armor again, thank God. He doesn't regen, he's not magical like that. And here I just kind of flip out for half a minute, trying to keep on. But in the end, it is futile. I want to know how he stands with those feet. My feet are balls, apparently. I have no idea how this works. Swing, batter, swing! Boom. I'm not sure what happens if you fall off the arena in this fight. Common sense would say that you just have to climb all the way back up, but I don't know if it'll instantly kill you. I know it'll reset during time attack, because in time attack, if you move out of the battlefield, it will reset the area and kick you out. But I'm not sure what it'll do in the real fight. Mainly because I've never bothered to. It's the same thing where I don't know what would happen if I went here before I went to the other two areas, or if I went to any of the Colossi before I went to the previous ones. It's because I never bothered to try it. And really, it just doesn't seem right. I assume they wouldn't be there. Because some of them are just kind of come out of places you can't go to, but some of them, like this one in number 4, I just assume they wouldn't be there. But anyway, we are going to be dropping down here and getting to his last weak point on his belly. I'm going to be dancing. Tickle, tickle. A Gucci Gucci coo. It's like a supermodel. He's got almost no stomach whatsoever. Come on. Yes! I have succeeded in killing him. And so did Giant Falls. No doubt crushing us with him. Oh god, no, fall the other way! Ow. And yet miraculously we survive. Only to be possessed by some kind of spiritual energy. Come to me! Good night. See you next time.
Mm-hmm.